Hello, welcome to ArtFriends, where we are friends who like art. And today I am joined by my lone art friend, Opalia.
Hello, and we are not joined by Coen because he is sick.
Poor Coen is very sick today, so he was not able to do the speak.
Anyways, guys, before we go on a full-on tangent, today's topic, because we are both weeps, is anime. Yay!
So we were thinking, Coen's not here. What's something art related that we can talk about that Coen doesn't really talk about? And we were like, well, Coen's a great artist.
He also likes everything that is with art.
Yes, so we were like, wait a second, we're weebs. Let's talk about anime.
Pretty much what happened. Definitely 100% true.
The thing is, you say it's sarcastic, but it is 100% true.
It's just, people should not think that we are obviously weeps, even though we are definitely 100% weeps. Just hiding our identity, just like us being furries.
Yes, I think this episode we need to finally come out as weebs, though.
Well, I thought you were going to say as furries, and I was like, no.
No, we'll do that in a later episode. Hey guys,
Coen is sick again.
first Sona reveal if this video gets 400 likes. So, I can't live up to that. So,
oh, imagine this video actually getting 400 likes, and then we're like, oh no. Oh heck. Oh no.
Anyways,
whoa.
let's get into the anime. So, Opalia,
Mhm.
what is anime? Because we both watch a lot of anime, but what is it? Like, what's the difference between anime and other animations and cartoons and shows?
Yes, anime is just a type of animation, like series and stuff like that, mostly made in, for example, Japan, or some are made in China, some are made in, actually also America, I've seen,
Yeah, America's been doing it more recently, but for the most part, it's a Eastern practice.
definitely. Most of the anime come out of Japan, or as I said, China. It's also a big country to come up with also very beloved anime. I sadly do not know any anime out of my head that is from China, sadly.
Scissor 7 is a Chinese anime. That's absolutely hilarious.
I see. Coda is obviously a bigger weep. Honestly, I would watch more diversely my anime, but I only have one more run to finish FMA. So
By finish FMA, she means she will have watched it 100 times over.
yeah, so by the time this video is out, I probably have already finished it.
Oh, that's crazy. 100 times. But yeah, if you can't tell by that, anime is great, and anime, I think, is more of an art style than it even is a type of show.
True, but anime is not only one art style, it's more art styles. There are, for example, different types of anime. There are shonen, shoujo, and I'm, by the way, butchering all Japanese words. And I think the third one must be shonen, but I'm not sure, so don't take my
There's
word for that.
and if we're talking about genres of storytelling, there's like isekai and whatnot.
But there are different ways. Like shonen is more like action-y, like Naruto, Hunter x Hunter, just to say some more well-known ones.
Such a good show.
It is. Then shonen is more like romantic, and as some people would say, girly, quote unquote, because it's more like love stories, cutesy, it's adorable.
Right.
Also, the art style is more like sparkly and cutesy. And B shonen is 18 plus, and we will not go into that direction.
But yeah, let's. You said the art style varies from show to show. Let's circle back to the art style. Anime, when people think of anime or manga, I think a lot of people's biggest gripe with it is the fact that everything looks so similar. To a lot of people looking in, at least, is that so many things look really similar to people. But the truth is, it's like a cartoon, you know? How cartoons vary wildly from style to style, but they're all a cartoon. I think anime is a very similar thing.
I think the best way to describe is, for example, cartoon is mostly bending reality, like as much as they can, like big old heads but small bodies, and then giant hands again. While anime tries to be a stylistic reality, like it's obviously not realistic art. It's also not semi-realistic most of the time. It's kind of in that in between of it's realistic proportions and it's stylized proportions. It's like when you have a scale from 1 to 10 and 1 is extremely stylized and 10 is extremely realistic, it's like a 7 to 6, 6 to 7.
Yeah.
And that's how stylistic anime is most of the time.
I know whenever I first started drawing, I actually wanted to learn to draw anime because, of artists like Mark Crilly and stuff, they all had more anime type styles. And those were like the big YouTubers I used to watch. And I was just like, I thought the secret to anime was literally just big eyes. I thought if I could figure out how to draw the anime eye, I'd be good to go.
Really? For me, anime was always about the hair. Hair. I said that.
I was wrong, but that's what I thought.
Yeah, true. Like, obviously, it's about the eyes also very much. Like, if you ask an anime artist, I also have it in like my how to draw books. Every anime artist says that the main focus of anime is the eyes, like the expression with eyes and eyebrows. So that's what they focus on, and that's why most of the time the eyes are so prominently big, or like detailed.
And a lot of times, the eyes are the most stylized thing in the show.
Exactly.
So like there's all realistic proportions with like how the hands and the bodies work, but then a lot of times there's just like big old bug eyes on these normal proportion characters.
Definitely. Also, like a good way to see like the difference in anime style is, for example, going through a timeline. Like the 1960s anime, like Mega Man, for example, had more like Disney-esque eyes, which is funny. Then we go to 1990s, where Sailor Moon was like a big thing, or Mermaid Melody, or John. I do not know the Japanese or English way names, so I will just maybe people remember what I'm saying with Jun. It's like pretty much she's a magical girl that gets demons into like little chess pieces. I don't know. Maybe people remember that.
Weird.
It's a very fun show. But then we go to like the 2010s, and Hunter x Hunter was big, and that had more of a cartoony, stylistic type of art style. And 2017, I think it was, My Hero was very big, and it had more of a comic-esque style. And now, like, the sparkling eyes are coming back a lot. It's like full circle.
So yeah, I think anime can really be summed up as like stylish reality. It's just taking reality and giving it cool, flowy hair. And I guess the most stylized cartoony thing would be the big eyes, but other than that, it's pretty realistic in a lot of senses. So if we can sum up anime that easily, you can't sum up cartoons that easily. Where do you think the differences fall? Like where? Because a lot of people are like, "Oh, anime looks the same." What's the difference between certain styles, or where does anime vary?
I mean, first of all, the genre, like a horror anime is definitely not like a romance anime, unless it's Mirai Nikki. But like most of the time, it depends on the genre. Like if it's a more lighthearted anime, then it most of the time gets like a more lighthearted art style. If it's more like an comic book-esque anime, it gets a more comic book-esque art style. But then there's also like where the art style subverts the expectations of the anime. For example, in Higurashi no Nakokoro ni. Wow, I said that so fastly.
I was so impressed just now. Wow.
Higurashi to say
it sounded like you were rapping it.
Man, Eminem cannot stand me. I mean, I did rap God in 1.5 speed, so
Not successfully, but you attempted.
most of the time successfully, if I do say so myself. More
Maybe the
successful than
chorus.
you? Oh,
More
come on.
successful than me, yes.
Yeah,
I
because you
failed
just
miserably.
you chickened
Also,
out.
I don't swear, so I had
I
I had
don't.
to censor myself constantly.
I don't care if I have to swear to win. I would do that. I wanted to rhyme first, but I was too slow.
Oh, that's no good, bro.
Oh my god! Please stop.
Faux show. All
Anyways,
right. So,
for example, in Higurashi, for example, the art style is like very cutesy. They have big eyes. They have like cute outfits, cute hair, cute characters, and then it goes full haywire. Like it's a full-on horror anime, and you're just like, I wanted to watch something cute and not someone getting their nails ripped out.
oh, is that what that scene is from? Oh my gosh, I hate that scene. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible.
I actually didn't feel anything over the whole anime, and I was like, yeah, I need a psychologist now.
I stumbled across the nail ripping scene when I was like 14 on YouTube, and I just was like, "Is this what anime is?"
And that was when Coda loved anime. No.
That was before I started being a weeb.
Yeah. Freaking
But
weebs.
yeah, you're right. The art style greatly depends on the content of the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Dragon Ball Z has a rougher, more buff guy type art style where everyone's super muscular, all the anatomy's defined because it's about buff dudes fighting buff dudes. Same with JoJo.
Yeah.
Everything's
Just so
super
it's more
sharp and defined
flamboyant.
because everyone's buff.
But it's also very flamboyant because,
Yeah,
JoJo.
because JoJo. You don't
It's
need a
so
reason.
yeah, it's so hard to describe like why JoJo is as good as it is, but it's just
Yeah,
gorgeous.
that was a bad example because JoJo's art style almost seems so perfect to the show to where you feel like the show was based on the style.
Oh
But
man.
if you have like a cutesy show, you have characters with big eyes, and a good example of this is All Saint Street. I think it's a Chinese anime.
Mm-hmm.
It's a show about. It's just a little funny slice of life sitcom about an angel, a devil, a werewolf, and a vampire who are all bunkmates. And because it's so silly and cutie, they use a lot of pastel colors, thick lines. They use all the character designs are really poofy and round, and everything's all bubbly, and it fits perfectly with the content of the show, which is silly and lighthearted. But where do you think the differences fall? Because, like I said, if we can sum up what anime is so easily, it can be very difficult to actually like define the differences between art styles. Like, why is the Ghibli style different than the Violet Evergarden style?
It's most of the time also like, art style of the artist itself. Like, obviously, not every anime is made by the same studio and by the same artist. It's like people comparing you and me. You would draw more like big old chunker noses, for example, as I stated earlier. Meanwhile, I do more like
Yes,
button round noses because I
I
think they're
do
more
love me some
endearing.
chonk noses.
You do. But really, it always depends on the artist, like what they prefer. For example, wow, Ghibli does like that a more realistic style. I don't know. It seems more realistic, but then it has some very stylized, like heavily stylized characters. For example, Yubaba in Spirited Away.
Uh-huh.
She has like a gigantic,
Oh my
gigantic
gosh, she
body,
has
but
the
she's small.
biggest chonker of a nose.
She has a honker chonker, dude.
Honk chonkaroo. Uh, but
It's not funny.
yeah, the differences lie are the differences in anime are so much more subtle than in Western cartoons.
Yeah.
because I feel like there's more limits since you're so close to reality. There's more limits. You can't stylize things as much, and that's like the big difference is you have to just tweak reality as opposed to warp it. So there's not as much you can do, but at the same time, Spirited Away draws things with really tiny eyes. Like all the characters have small eyes, as opposed to All Saints Street, like I brought up, where all the characters have huge eyes. And all the characters in All Saints Street have big hands. Spirited Away has like realistic hands.
Mm-hmm.
I have been shocked though, because I think it relies a lot on context, because Sodama's face, One Punch Man, his face, whenever he's being all derpy, like his normal resting silly face, does not look anime to me. Like if I were to see that, I'd be like, oh, that's a cartoon. But because it's in the context of anime, you're like, it's an anime. So I feel like when you put things in the context of anime, you can start warping the style a little bit more.
Definitely. Like anime can have a very stylistic style still, but then again, with the example of One Punch Man, first of all, look at the lighting of the hair; it's so pretty.
All right, this is the last tangent, but you have sent the Violet Evergarden picture where the hair is. Oh, the line art is white.
Yes, I know.
That's so genius.
That's it. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking up anime screenshots so I can get some references. And it's just like...
Oh, Violet. The lighting in that show is so good.
Oh, one more picture and then I'm done. Wait. Okay, paste. Like,
the line art is white. That's so genius. And also, yes, that's episode 7. The one we just watched, and the water is so pretty.
Episode 7 made me cry.
The show is so saturated, but it works.
It isn't, actually. It actually isn't. Color pick all the colors. That's one thing that I realized with anime and cartoon. Cartoon has like very saturated like colors. And then comes anime, and they have the least saturated colors. And by just putting up the saturation like the smallest bit, all the colors look saturated as hell. And it's like, but if you color pick them, you can see that they are sometimes extreme pastels, like extreme. It's so crazy.
Yeah. And I think that's, again, talking about tweaking versus warping reality. Because anime tweaks reality, and reality has a lot of more pastel-type colors, but reality is pretty saturated. But at the same time, it's not nearly as much as it is in Western cartoons. But like anime just tweaks it, so it makes it similar saturation to reality. When in Western cartoons, they're just like, yeah, let's crank that sucker up. Let's draw it and then just crank the saturation meter up.
Exactly. But yeah, this episode is so pretty.
It's so good. If I could cry, which I say that like I can't physically cry, but I haven't. I feel like I should have cried a long time ago, but for some reason tears never rise to my eyes. It just doesn't happen for some reason. Even though I am an emotional boy, I'm not trying to act tough. I can't physically cry.
I was just sobbing in the background. Like I tried to not cry loudly so you can still hear the episode, but I was just in the background like, it's so pretty, but sad. I don't know, you might have heard me just sniffling here and there.
I heard a couple sniffles, but it's fine. I feel it.
I mean, was that a fly or a spider? Please tell me it's a fly. Okay, it's a fly.
Anyways, so yeah, but I think that's the best way to put it, and I like the way I put it, and I don't mean to pat myself on the back, but tweaking versus warping reality.
Exactly.
So let me get up the list here and see what all we got. So, I mean, why is anime so popular? Like, whenever you go on DeviantArt or Instagram...
It sounded like you said ooh again.
Whenever you go on DeviantArt or Instagram, you primarily see anime artists, at least from what I've seen, are artists who use variations of anime styles. Why is it so popular? And why is because people watch anime, at least from the community I've seen, as much or more than Western cartoons in the West. So I can't imagine what it's like in the East.
Actually, the opposite. Like, obviously they watch anime a lot, but I heard many times before that people that watch anime a lot are just called crazy. So it's less occurrent to meet like people that watch a lot of anime in the Eastern. I mean, I'm just telling from like 2 people that told me that, so it's not like facts.
Yeah, but that's interesting thought that because like here, if you watch a bunch of cartoons and only cartoons, or like I'll have friends who, because I watch like only animation, they're like, "Dang, bro, that's pretty childish." And I guess the same thing would happen with anime in the East.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Exactly. So I'm cranking
It's
out
a similar effect to, and it's only similar in a very vague sense. But like, if a cartoon draws a realistic head of like a normal person, is that a cartoon?
Huh.
And it's, of course, like I said, it's only vaguely similar, but it's still like the idea of differences and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I guess, why do people like it so much? I think it's because it's tweaked reality. People like to draw realistically, but they don't want to actually draw realism, and that's like the perfect compromise.
It's like realism made easy, honestly.
Kinda, yeah. It's like realism, but you don't gotta draw the nose.
Exactly, like you can draw a dot and people would be like, yeah, that's anime. But like the other thing that I think is also kind of I think a reason why people like anime so much is just it's interesting. Like the concepts are very different than in cartoons. For example, we have
So you're talking about anime from a storytelling standpoint and not an art style.
exactly, like just to glance over it, anime, the way they tell stories is very differently. Like the pacing is differently, the moods are differently in anime. Animes are most of the time, not all the time, definitely not all the time, very serious at times where it's like needed to be, or like emotions are very strongly shown. For example, in Studio Ghibli, when a person cries, they have like big old crocodile tears running down their face.
And it's so adorable.
It is. Or when they are tensing up, then their hair poofs up and stuff like that. It's a very expressive way in a different kind. Like, cartoon is very expressive with like the face, the shapes, and stuff like that, whilst anime is more expressive with like the eyes and the emotions and like the body. For example, there's like a scene that I showed to Coda from Whispers of the Heart, where they sang Country Roads, and you can tell by the body language how the girl in the beginning was like very shy and timid and warmed up, and later she clapped and was like blushing and stuff like that. That's just like very endearing. But also we have like a very popular anime at the time is Dragon Ball, where it's just like he's strong and stronger and stronger. Like he gets stronger and stronger by the time, and people are just like, "Yeah, that's so cool! Look at Goku go! Yeah, Goku!" And then Goku.
One of Goku's kids.
Does.
Goku's so narcissistic. He named his kids Gotenks and Gohan. But let's yeah, I think that's fun. So I think the art style of anime does reflect the storytelling, and that might be one of the reasons people like it, because it's tweaked reality, just like how anime, story-wise, is tweaked reality. The characters are treated more like real people, and the stories are more cohesive and carry a plot line from episode to episode. more so than Western television, where you'll have like Ed, Ed, and Eddie, like those, those characters are just like cartoon styles, exaggerated versions and warped versions of reality that would never exist in real life. So I don't know. I think there's endearment in both. But
Definitely.
I guess one of the reasons anime is so popular is because it's something you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah. It's
you
like,
know. Go ahead.
It's pretty much like when you like some kind of food and you can only eat it at that one restaurant. Then you want to find more restaurants that do that food because it's your favorite food. I don't know.
Exactly.
And maybe those restaurants don't exist as often. Then you're like, yeah. Just with the difference that there's like anime out there and like such a big amount of time.
In this case, that restaurant is a Japanese place.
Yeah. But also then again, there are like Western shows that are also like giving the anime vibes that are not anime. A good example would be Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is right now getting a lot of popularity back, which I really enjoy.
Yes.
And it kind of also has like those anime vibes without being anime. Because it's
Have you seen The Dragon Prince?
I think.
Have you watched it or have you just seen it?
I've seen it, yeah.
Okay, well, I can't tell if that's anime.
It is not.
Okay.
But it gives those vibes. For example, also She-Ra gives like anime vibes, or Steven Universe gives anime vibes.
I'm curious what your thoughts, because here's the deal, Opalia draws anime. I'm curious what your thoughts are on what separates, what's the boundary? Like, how cartoon and stylized does something have to be before it's not anime?
I mean, since anime now is kind of just an animation in a specific, like, storytelling kind of way and art style kind of way, but also the art style is so hard to, like, depict as full-on anime. For example, we have an anime like Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt, which at first looks like a comic, but then it has, like, those anime-looking scenes. And then it's, like, not cartoon, but also not anime because it's both.
Right, and I want to elaborate on what you just said in a moment, but continue for now.
Yeah, and I think, to say it very bluntly, anime beforehand was just animations made in Japan. Oh, that's stuttering. Anime before meant like animations made in Japan, but now it's more like anime is what you call anime. Like if it's, for example, the person draws pretty realistic, but not in a hard black light, like black shadows, like in a comic book style, and not realistic enough to call it realism, they would most likely call it anime.
Right. Like, I mean, All Might has that comic book shading going on.
Yeah, as I said, like My Hero has like a very comic book-esque style, but then the storytelling is more like anime. Also, like the tropes, like the character tropes.
So,
No, what I wanted to say is, for example, like a Bakugo that goes like explodes with their personality very quickly. It's rare to see that kind of personality type in cartoon, I think.
yes.
Also, like the tsundere that is like, I don't like you.
Yeah, there are certain anime archetypes that are never seen in Western media, and I think that's another fun thing. But you said something that really intrigued me. So, and I think this is interesting, because if we're not talking about anime as a style, like just in general, and we're talking about media and movies and comic books, really, like storytelling, the way shots are comprised are very different than Western media. For example, Western media tends to, when it comes to entertainment, stay out with the cameras. The cameras are pretty far from the characters most of the time. Like in cartoons, you can usually see multiple characters on screen at all times. But with anime, you have these shots like going way into the character's eye and then zipping out all the way to show the entire city and then into one character's hand and the camera's everywhere and they're not afraid to put the camera anywhere.
Exactly. But also, what I realized while looking through anime screenshots as reference, it's most of the time in the rule of thirds. Like, they keep in the rule of thirds.
Uh-huh.
For example, if there are two characters, they most of the time stand both in like 1/3, like in exactly the line of the third. It's kind of very interesting. And Coda just destroyed everything.
But that's fun. So that was, we talked about it. That kind of got a little messy, talking about a bunch of different stuff, but I think what it boiled down to at its core was, what is anime? And it came out, it's just an art style that's tweaked realism. And there's, of course, different subconscious stuff. Like, for example, the way shots are comprised makes anime. Or the context of it being called anime makes it anime. Or the way stories are told makes it anime. And I think that'd be fun to elaborate more on later. But for now...
Oh, one more thing, though. Anime and cartoon, there's also a difference. Cartoons are extremely fast. Like, they have a very quick pace. It's like going on. Meanwhile, anime is like taking time to show the characters slowly going into their emotion. Then it's taking time to make the anime to make the character like do something. If it's like a slower anime, and if it's like, it mostly only gets fast when it's fighting scenes where they have to act fast. So not only is the style more realistic, but it's also the way the characters behave in a way. Like, it's obviously not 100% realistic since there are tropes of personality types, but most of the time the way the body behaves is like the gestures are very stylized realism.
Right.
If it's a good anime, honestly.
Right. But that's true. So, something I wanted to get into was there is a stereotype among art teachers, and I've seen this to be true. I've met an art teacher. I've actually never taken an art class, but I've met an art teacher who, one of the few things he told me was how much he despises anime. And a lot of art teachers, it's a stereotype that they do hate anime. Why? Why do you think that is, Opalia?
I think because most of the time anime is like looking pretty similar to realism, where it just goes, kind of realistic, but not really realistic. And our teachers want to show some realistic ways. Also, people that draw anime, honestly, most of the time, if they are younger, it happens that they are like, I only want to draw anime and nothing else. And our teacher has to go through like one topic, and they have to like handle it. Like, they have to tell the students, hey, we have to go through that topic because it's their job. And then people that draw anime, like especially children, are not wanting to draw anything else but that, and that's what is bugging our teachers. Also, just the fact that most of the time when people learn anime, they learn like the style, to get the style right, but not to get the basics right. So it's like, they can draw the prettiest eyes, but they're not in the correct perspective, or like the proportions are weird, and
Right.
it takes
I did that
time.
same thing. I learned how to draw the CalArt style far before I actually learned how to draw. But I think you're right. There is, to an extent, people that bug the art teacher more than the style. A lot of people who draw anime do only draw anime and want to only draw anime. And so when an art teacher is like, yo, can you do this gesture drawing? And they give the gesture drawing Hatsune Miku hair, they're like, don't do that. So I think there is a like a little bit of tug of war going on between students who draw anime and art teachers trying to get them to draw something else, and that puts a bad taste in their mouth. However,
it's understandable in a way.
Yeah. However, I actually had an art teacher. I didn't have an art teacher. I went to a summer camp, and one of the teachers went on an anime rant. And basically, and was a really interesting guy. He was a print teacher. And when you're working in print, you work a lot with like big, heavy slabs to push ink onto other things and whatnot. And one time when he was first getting into print, he was carrying a marble slab and he dropped it on his toe, and his pinky toe, and now he doesn't have a pinky toe. And
how?
What?
That sounds hurtful, dude.
It is, but he freaks people out at the camp with it. He goes, "Yeah, I don't have a pinky toe," and the campers were like, "No!" And he stuck his foot up. He kicked it up on the table, and he goes, "Feel." And everyone was like, "Yeah, no, I'm not. Okay, we believe you. We're not gonna feel." And he was like, "It's just you could feel my shoe. There's no toe. It's not gross." And they're like, "Oh, no, we're good. We're good."
And you're just like, I need to touch that. I need to feel it. Well, that sounds a little bit.
Oh, I feel like it would have been funny if there was one weird kid who just like started massaging his foot.
And he's like, Billy, please stop.
Billy, stop. You've been massaging everybody. Need it. Thank you for your kind thoughts, though.
Billy is just like, well, you asked me to.
I didn't. He got nicknamed the masseuse. Just a kid who compulsively massages everybody.
Oh, that's weird.
That's so weird.
Oh no. Please. Oh no. It shouldn't exist.
Oh, I feel like that'd be like a horror. That's so uneasy. But what the art teacher said, he goes, and this is, I feel like this is an invalid point because of what we talked about earlier, but he was like, all anime styles are the same. No one has any originality in it. They're just ripping off everybody else, and they're not actually thinking about what they're doing. They're never going to become great artists because they're just stealing from things and never actually improving on anything. And I don't think that's true, because the subtle differences in anime, to me, in different styles, indicate that some people don't even intend to draw anime. They just draw, and it ends up falling into the anime category.
True. Like, my art style, I always try to not be anime, and I was offended when people call it anime style before. But it's just like, I watched a lot of anime, and it kind of turned into an anime-looking art style. Like, it's not it's definitely, like, from Sailor Moon copied that kind of similarity. It's just like, it looks anime, so it should be anime, right? Like, in that area.
Right. I think another thing is that anime is just tweaked reality, if that's how we were going to define it, which means it's hard to change much. So the fact that people are able to come up with different styles, like how different Ghibli's style is from the My Hero Academia style, just goes to show that there's even more creativity in some instances going into it because they're working with more limitations.
Exactly. Also, if you guys are more interested about opinions on art styles, we actually do have an episode. Haha.
Episode on art styles. Go watch episode 2.
Yay, we did it.
Even though anime styles tweaked a lot and can have differences, do you ever consider it boring or overused? Like, is it used too much? Because like I said, it's popular. Like, a lot of people use this style on Instagram.
No, honestly, it's because most of the time it's just your interest or what you like click onto. Most of the time people search for specific stuff, like for example on Instagram, or it's like stuff that was sent before to them, like they're taking all your information. If it's like your old Facebook account, since Instagram is from Facebook, they're taking also your old like 13-year-old posts where you're like, hey, I have watched Detective Conan and it's very good. And they're taking that to show you more anime art. So if you see a lot of anime art, maybe you just have searched it a lot.
I also think it's drawn in a lot, like it's just used a lot in general. And I don't think that's a bad thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing, you don't have to look at it.
Exactly.
So
You can...
if somebody wants to draw anime, don't be like, another one. Because if they have a passion for drawing anime, you don't have to look at it if you're sick of looking at it.
I mean, there's even like a function where you can pretty much say, yeah, I don't want to see that hashtag anymore, and then be like, hashtag anime is that hashtag, you know?
Yeah.
There's always ways to go away from it.
Yeah, but I do feel like more recently, all cartoons have had a very similar style. Certain cartoons with the CalArt style is what people are calling it. And basically, it's everyone just got their wisdom teeth removed and their teeth are a cage. But yeah, and I feel like with that style, with the CalArt style, it's overused in the sense of no one's coming up with anything original anymore.
It feels like it, yeah.
So I feel like that same thing could be said for anime. You know, but at the same time, anime has kind of become a genre. Cartoon is a genre. CalArts is a niche. Anime is not a niche, it's a genre. So it's harder to overuse than something like CalArts.
I think so too.
Honestly, I debated trying to go to CalArts just because all the show creators are there, and I realized that's because they all know each other. Like, if you go to CalArts, you're gonna go to school with a bunch of animator friends and all make shows. But I'm just gonna figure it out on my own. I got this. I'm going to a little underground college. I can do this.
If you go to CalArts, honestly, I would just be like, ha, loser.
You went to California? I mean, I think but yeah, I mean, anime and cartoons are very different. Anime in and of itself is, like I said, a genre. So you can get very different within it by tweaking reality in different ways. Maybe instead of making the eyes bigger, you choose to make the hands bigger, or you choose
the nose.
or the nose bigger, or you could even get really oddly specific, like make the torso half the size and the limbs twice the size, and you have this really weird, still anime type style.
I feel definitely offended by this because I'm doing very long legs. You just like...
But Opalia, you know what I think it would be fun?
What would be funny?
Unless you want to touch on anything else. Would you like to talk about some of our favorite mangaka or anime artists?
Yes.
Okay, Opalia, who is your favorite mangaka?
It is Junji Ito, definitely. Like,
Mine too.
Wow, who would have thought? I would just keep us in saying that we want to talk about Junji Ito, so it sounds even sillier. Oh no.
The thing is, we're not lying though. He's both of our favorite.
It's true though. Like, if you would hear us sometimes talking in private, it's just us gushing about his art just randomly. Like, I look at my copy of Uzumaki and I'm like, I love that book. And you're like, oh yeah, I do love it myself. It's so great.
Yeah, as soon as you said that, I looked behind me and looked at my copy.
Oh god. But like,
we are nerds. We are super fans.
We are. One thing that we realized is that anime, for example, made us feel things. It made us feel scared of something so stupidly harmless, and it's crazy. Like in Uzumaki, it's pretty much like a spiral curse, that everything that is like spiral kind of tends to end into a freaking apocalypse, but only in that one town. And it sounds so weird if I just say it out loud, but like
it's so stupidly horrifying.
it is. Like at first you're like, okay, the idea sounds kind of stupid, but then you read it.
And I think that's the genius of Junji Ito. He's able to use anime and illustration to take these dumb concepts like spirals haunt everything, and these concepts are just these things that you would never fear. Like, yes,
Did you just call anime stupid?
It's a balloon shaped like a head. It's just things that you would never fear, but yet he can use anime to make them so scary. Writing too. It's not, but his illustrations alone are terrifying.
The thing is, he's a master of making like faces look so pretty they're eerie. Like,
yes, he is another great example of an anime style that is very different than most other anime.
Like, his style is realistic, but also stylized again. Like, since he was a doctor before, he knows anatomy very well, and it's just so scary to see like his anatomical stuff that he does sometimes. It's
like the surgical stuff.
Yeah, it's so pretty, but also at the same time scary. And at the same time, like, my problem with this art style is I love it so much, but at the same time, I don't want to see it anymore because it terrifies me sometimes.
Also, hair.
Oh god, his hair is so gorgeous. Like,
he's so good at drawing hair. That's another thing that anime has a leg up on Western cartoons, is the hair is amazing.
Exactly.
And the outfits are so much more detailed, and the hair is so much more detailed. But Junji Ito specifically is just hair. It's so good.
You sounded crazy right there, like, whoa.
Yeah, hair. I like saying it like that.
Crazy.
Crazy.
You're such a crazy person.
But, I mean, I don't know. I guess, because here's the deal. Anime is tweaked reality, and I feel like that's much scarier than a cartoon. It's hard to make a scary cartoon because everything's so
Reality is scary.
What?
Reality is scary. Coda 2020.
Well, first off, yes, is horrifying. Second off, things in real life, so let's say you see a monster that looks like it could exist in the real world versus one that is like all squishy and like built like a marshmallow, like in a cartoon.
Cute.
The one that you feel like could exist in the real world relates to you more and thus scares you more. So it's
like with zombies, for example. Like, my cat just catched a fly in the middle of the air and just jumped against the window. It's like with zombies, for example. The thing is, like a vampire, not everybody can become a vampire, and you have never seen a vampire before. But zombies are just living corpses. And you can become a corpse. You can, they exist. And there's like that slight feeling that it could exist one day. And that's why zombies are scarier than a vampire. Also, Twilight made vampires look weak, changed my mind.
Oh dear. But yeah, exactly. The more chance there is of something being real, the scarier it is. At least from what I've seen.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, as soon as you know it could exist, like there's a potential, you're like, oh hell no.
Which is why those monsters in Junji Ito books that are like elusive, like they never actually show their true form. In a sense, like the girl who gets whenever she gets her picture taken, her face gets all monstery and warped. Those are the scariest.
I immediately knew you were talking about Tomie.
Yes.
God, she's such a great character. Like the idea behind her is so interesting and intriguing.
I know. But that's like one of those things that could exist and you would never know about it. So the fact that, oh, maybe it does. Ooh, like Ghost Story.
Exactly.
And Junji Ito's style does that perfectly because it's just stylized enough to be eerily beautiful in a way,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time it's just real enough to where you're like, oh, that could exist.
It's like, oh no, that could actually be a thing. Oh
And the
no.
thing is, he also exploits phobias in the best way. Like,
Oh, he does.
what's the phobia of a large cluster of holes?
Trypophobia, I think.
Yeah, maybe. But I've seen him exploit that by having people who've been drilled by mosquitoes all over, or just a guy who has a bunch of holes in him. He exploits those phobias.
Oh, there's actually a story where there's like a guy that picked up a stone. Or was it?
Uh-huh.
No, it was a little girl that picked up a stone, and the main character is like a guy that's like seeing that girl every day, and she's
Uh-huh.
always like putting her hand out of the window, right? And one day he saw that her hand had like a lot of holes in them, and one night it stormed like a lot, and that girl died, and someone threw like a rock into his house that had like a lot of holes in that, like it looked like the arm of that girl, and the guy had to pick it up and like just kept it, you know. And one time a
Uh-huh.
friend of his like stole his rock in a stormy night, and in the middle of the night when the guy went to bed because he was just like tired, you know, his friend came back and had also the holes all over his body. That literally exploited trypophobia.
Dang, I know.
It's like so scary,
Oh, and
but
it's
also
so
so
genius.
genius.
And
Also,
also, oh,
hmm?
continue.
There's like a story of like a woman that has like two daughters, and pretty much like one night, one of the daughters had no, not like the daughters were like very famous in the school, or like popular, I guess it's the better word. And one day, they like there was like a guy that one of the daughters rejected in the most horrendous way because she is a brat. And did I already say it to you that the mother was like extremely like clean, like she had to have everything extremely clean and like neat. And then one day they had like whispering from the sink. Are you still there?
I am.
Okay. They're like whispering from the sink, and pretty much just didn't think much of it. But then the daughter got so scared because she just was like, "That's not normal. Like that stinks whisper." And
It's not.
one night, the father came back to the house, wanted to see like his daughters again, but the mother, someone in the family, like thought that the father was like some kind of thief or something, so he got killed or stabbed. And then the mother had to put it away, but the blood didn't go away. So the mother tried to like wash her hands and saw that the sink was like overfilled with hair. And so they got a plumber to like clean the sink. And then somewhat later, the mother wanted to wash her hands, but got sucked into the sink. Like something grabbed her, and she pretty much got like so much sucked into there until her body fitted in there, which, you know, sinks are small. And then the daughters were orphans, but since they were old enough to live alone, they lived alone in that house of their mother where both of their parents died. And then one day, the one sister said to the other one, like, dude, I can see a hand in this sink. And the other one was like, nah, you were joking. And later on, she heard like her sister scream more and more. And when she looked into the shower, she just saw the hand, like the arm of her sister, going through the sink lower and lower and like disappearing. And later on, they found out that it was the guy that the girl rejected, and it's so scary to me. Like,
Oh.
I couldn't shower for a week.
Oh
I did.
no.
Like I had
the fact
to
that it's just a dude too.
It's not even like he was just a little fatty, you know? It wasn't even something special.
Oh no. That's horrifying.
That's why Junji Ito is the best at horror.
Yeah, he's the best largely because of his storytelling, but also largely because of his art.
Definitely. But yeah, I think just us going on a full-on tangent about his stories is interesting for most. But we shouldn't overdo it, I think.
I just wanted to say one last thing. The way he draws faces is so good. Like the way he draws eyes is so beautiful. And not only that, but like his faces are so minimalistic. So there's only a few lines that make up the entirety of the face because he knows how to draw so well.
Mm.
And I just thought that probably goes back to him being a doctor. He knows the facial anatomy like the back of his hand.
Exactly.
Implying that, yes, he does also know the anatomy in the back. I guess anime, in Junji Ito's case, would have been the best style. And, you know, it's not even like he became an anime artist because he loved anime and he wanted to copy anime. It's just because it was the best choice out of all the styles.
Actually, no, it was just he saw like a magazine and they then got asked to like draw a little short comic for it. Since he really liked comics before and just didn't work in the industry. And at like age 40, he just decided to draw that, and people really liked it, like his style. And then he was making more and more out of that, his art.
Right, that's what I'm saying. He didn't start with the intention of I'm going to become an anime. The intention of I'm going to become an anime just so happened to be the best style for him.
Exactly. Though in this case, it would be more like manga.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is anime isn't a knockoff of itself. Anime is a knockoff of reality. So anytime someone draws in an anime style, not only is it tweaking reality in different ways to make it different from other styles, but it's also not just copying other anime styles. It's more so copying reality than anything. Just like any style, it's just more so copying reality than cartoons. Yes. I think, wow, we talked a lot more than I expected us to about that one thing. I thought we would get into storytelling, but no, we just talked about the art for a while.
Because the art is like very original, but also like we are called art friends.
Yes, and we didn't even touch on like outfit design or how they design or anything. We just
design is pretty.
Anime outfits are usually incredible, and we didn't even talk about it.
Also hairstyles, but maybe when Coen is again sick, we can be like the Weeps talk about anime part 2, maybe with furry stuff.
Part 2 Electric Boogaloo. Anime 2 Electric Boogaloo. The sequel to Anime 1.
We would definitely call it that way.
We will. If Coen's ever sick again, get ready for Anime 2 Electric Boogaloo, where we talk about anime designs, anime storytelling, where we just get going all in being weebs, and we might talk about more mangaka than Junji Ito if we have time, or we just go on another Junji Ito gush. Who knows? He's great.
Maybe I can do a freaking FMA since I know it a little bit better. No.
Since you know it a little bit, you're on your 100th run.
I'm still waiting for like people that understand either Japanese or like just are interested in me watching a show and like reacting to everything. Because I want to watch it alone. It's like special. You don't watch anything like 100 times every day.
Yes, exactly. If there's anything, unless there's anything you want to add, we can wrap it up.
I think that's it. Like, we talked about what is anime? Why is it so popular? What is the style? Are there even differences in the style? What's the difference between cartoon and anime? And anything. And if there's like anything you have to ask us about anime, or any recommendations we can give you, haha, just ask us. Like, we would love to talk to you in the comments section.
Anyways, I think we should wrap up the episode.
Yes, this has been ArtFriends episode 11, anime. I hope this is the same title, so I don't sound like a stupid dum-dum, but I think it will be. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching this video. If you want to hear more of us, please click onto like our channel icon and look at the other episodes we made. This has been episode 11. Maybe there's something more for you than just anime. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. For the people on YouTube, please like it if you liked it, subscribe if you loved it, and ring the bell to get notified every Friday. Bye!
That's amazing. I used to play Sonic Mario the Winter Olympic Games so much.
The one in Vancouver? Yes, same. Like, my favorite game was obviously figure skating, and Ave Maria was my best song, one of my best songs. There was only like one passage where I was just like, how to work. Or like the
Here's what I have to say. Did anyone ever not get a perfect on the spin?
I had it once, and I was like, I'm a disappointment to me, my family, my future family that I will never have. I will be a disappointment to someone who doesn't even know me yet.
Oh, I've only seen someone not get a perfect on the spin once.
Just imagine you saying that like very dramatically, like in a movie. I have
that's funny.
Only
There's
once.
only been one other person I know who's done that.
It was dark times when the Wii remote slowly lost its battery. Do you even know what a battery is, Bucko?
All your remotes are chargeable nowadays. It was a dark time when you were playing figure skating. Your friend got a pretty good score, but you knew you could beat it. You were on that final spin where you had to push the Wii remote to the one direction that they were telling you to push it, but you never knew the exact time to do it. You just kind of did it around the time. And then all of a sudden the remote runs out of battery and your friend beats you by 20 points.
And you know those 20 points could have been that spin. Also, my best song, it wasn't Ave Maria, it was the Four Seasons, Spring, was also the longest one. And when I first was better than Peach in that game with freaking Blaze the Hedgehog, or Cat, I think she was, I was like, who will stop me now, mother?
Oh my gosh. I always found it unfair when people would play Sonic in the race games. I was like, come on!
Like there's also like not ice skating like in the quick ones, like where you actually have to race. And then my brother took Sonic and I was like, no, I'm not doing it. Oh, remember those special things like where
they're like night modes or something where they all got weird colors? The dream mode. They were called dream modes.
Dream mode, right. They were hard level and I loved them. I loved dream mode like ice skate. No. Snowboarding, that was the thing.
Was it the one that was the game I was the best at? It was the game I would beat everybody at.
Dude, if we ever meet, I will bring that game and you will bring your Wii.
Dude, I have the game. So
dude.
if we ever meet up, I challenge you to dream snowboarding.
People in 10 years will never get what we're saying right now, you know. I don't even think they do it now.
I can't believe we both used to play that game.
Same here. I mean, I didn't have much time. No, I did have a lot of time on my hands, so I was just like, what to do? Mario's just like, Opalia, hey, wanna do figure skating? And then I'm like, oh geez, I shouldn't. I should learn for school. He's like, I also have snowboarding. Hit me up.
You know those people in figure skating that would like shake the remote in between the things and the character would move and it'd be like, good, and give you extra points?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do that for a long time because I was like, that's not fair.
I did it all the time and I was like, look at me getting even more points, you stupid imbeciles. I was like a movie villain, just actual real life. And people were like,
You're
what
going
the
to
hell is
Sonic
wrong?
and Mario Winter Olympic Games 13-year-old villain.
God, I love that game. I still have it.
I know, and the thing is, it's not even like the best game, but it's so nostalgic and it makes me so happy to play.
Right? Oh my god, I cannot believe that we both also loved figure skating the most. I feel
And
like
that we were both the best at Dream Snowboard.
dude, what are the odds?